We've all felt that state capture has not quite stopped.
The Bushiri saga, also botched. He's at large 5 years later, entertaining the former SG of MKP and now president of Maibuye. The Timothy Omotoso case, after 8 years, botched, released. In China today, Mr. Wang Yong was sentenced to death for accepting a 38 million rand bribe. We're serious in China, but we're not serious in this country. If we were, many people who are making laws in this parliament wouldn't be here today.
Equality before the law and justice are just a myth in South Africa, like the Omotoso case, Sindiso Makaka case, Gupta extradition, Senzo Meyiwa, Twetwe, state capture cases, and many more.
People who should be behind bars are out on the streets, and those who should be free remain behind bars.
Is this justice or just ice in a glass of expensive whiskey enjoyed by the deep state when they say cheers to a corrupt system they alone benefit from?
Now recognize the Honorable Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development.
The fiscal environment demands of us to do more with less and to be prudent in our spending. The department will prioritize increasing access in terms of its priorities to justice, the continued implementation of the TRC report as adopted by Parliament, the turnaround of the master's offices, improved state litigation, the fight against gender-based violence and femicide, fighting fraud and corruption, acceleration of transformation of legal sector, operationalization of the traditional courts, and review of all apartheid laws. Honorable members, I have the pleasure as a Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development to table budget vote number 25 for your approval. Thank you very much.
The next speaker will be from Bosa, Honorable Maimane.
I think all of us as South Africans have been treated quite extensively by the revelations that General Mkhwanazi raises. The old dictum that says innocent until proven guilty. I want to, in this instance, make it clear that we believe General Mkhwanazi until he's been proven to be dishonest. And that requires a process of thorough investigation. What General Mkhwanazi is stating is the feeling that we all have. That the fact of the matter is that your probability of finding a conviction after having convicted a murder is 1 in 5. For rape, that number becomes even less. This is something that is deeply worrying. General Mkhwanazi confirms for all of us what we've all felt, that state capture has not quite stopped. That it is something that is continuing and we all feel it in our day-to-day lived experiences. General Mkhwanazi tells us that we are fast shifting away from the rule of law to the rule of man. The idea that political decisions trump, in fact, what should happen in terms of the rule of law. Honorable members, it is time for us to be deliberate and act now. We will soon be asked to declare the state capture report as wasteful and fruitless expenditure until we soon see prosecutions that must take place. So, Honorable Minister, I have a number of points I want to raise with you. In February, your ministry committed to making the National Register of Sex Offenders public. We have to see progress in this. Because in truth, for our teachers, only 7% of the nearly 500,000 educators have been screened against this. I take my kids to school. I'm sure honorable members do the same. We can't put them at such risk. For police, as of now, only 245 SAPS personnel have faced scrutiny in this regard. This is a significant risk in a country that is facing such a chronic issue of violence. Honorable Minister, you promised the whistleblowers protection and legislative reform. I'm sure we can come here today and we've got to make a commitment to expedite that issue. Because more people take their lives to risk to tell us what is going on. They need protection and they need protection from you. So I welcome the decision by Parliament to put together an investigation. The last point I want to make, Minister, is that as the end of the term of the current National Director of Public Prosecutions, let us codify into law the appointment of the next, begin now, and make sure we get a candidate who will replace Advocate Batoy. Justice cannot be allowed to be subjected to the rule of men. So let's make sure we act now, fund properly, and deliver a justice system that works for all citizens.
Thank you, Honourable Member.
I'll now recognize Honorable Cholip.
Action SA has long advocated for the establishment of specialized corruption courts to fast-track the prosecution and conviction of corruption cases. The urgency has never been more clear, especially in light of the expose by Commissioner Mkhwanazi. The Zondo Commission recommended over 1,400 individuals, companies and government entities to be investigated for their roles in state capture. In a written reply to Action SA, the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation said only 200 recommendations have been prosecuted or prioritized. These have led to just 12 court cases, addressing only 38 of the 1,400 recommendations, a mere 2.7%. If this department and this GNU has no appetite to prosecute these cases, we do. If I can adapt and borrow from the words of William Shakespeare and Julius Caesar and say, I have not come here to praise the NPA. I've come here to expose it. The NPA has failed with the Zizi Kodwa case. The NPA collapsed the Estina Dairy case. The NPA botched the Cholota extradition in the 255 million rand asbestos case involving Ace Magashule. And they did that in spite of the fact that there was a recent Constitutional Court ruling in the Schultz matter 2 months before the extradition, where it made it clear that the minister had to authorize extradition. When the NPA were asked, did they discuss that? They said, yes, we did, but our lawyers weren't present. Aren't you all supposed to be lawyers? The Bushiri saga also botched. He's at large 5 years later, entertaining the former SG of MKP and now president of Maibuye as a hero in Malawi. The Timothy Omotoso case, after 8 years, botched, released. The prosecutor that botched it, what has he done? He's been assigned to the Forte case, where people have been murdered, assassinated, corruption, racketeering. Not serious. Action SA will soon introduce the Zero Tolerance Corruption Bill to break the cycle of impunity in this parliament, with mandatory minimum sentences for corruption, permanent bans for political office bearers, and convicted individuals. In China today, a civil servant, a public official, a former public official, Mr. Wang Yong, was sentenced to death for accepting a 38 million rand bribe. Serious in China, but we're not serious in this country. If we were, many people who are making laws in this parliament wouldn't be here today. Action SA cannot support this budget until criminal legislators and members of this executive and in the ranks of the opposition are put behind bars. Thank you.
I will now recognize Honorable South.
Thank you very much, Honorable House Chair. The Department's Strategic Plan 2025 to 2030 includes 9 outcome statements. I want to zoom into 3. Outcome 7, fighting crime and corruption through prosecution. We support the budget, hoping that outcome 7 will be achieved when we think of the selfless life of Detective Clint Skippers from Makassar, Cape Town, who, like a real-life hero, risked his life in a shootout with 12 cash-in-transit criminals. One died, and because of him, the rest was arrested, but he walked away with 5 bullets in his back. He didn't just take a bullet for his country, he took 5 and still walks around with 2 in his back. And now, how does the justice system thank him? Instead of a promotion or a medal or even a payout, no. He rather has to pray for a way out. After he protected his family against the housebreaking attempt, a case of self-defense was changed to murder after a year. In this justice system of ours, such a hero gets arrested, thrown in jail with hardened criminals he gave 16 years of his life to arresting. We support this budget so that outcome 7 must be achieved to deal with the corruption in the system against many like Detective Clint Skippers. If not, then we cannot help but wonder, is this justice? The Justice Department received an allocation of 25.4 billion, including direct charge for magistrate salaries of 2.6 billion. We are making sure magistrates' salaries are secured, yet magistrates like Judge Morolong in Kimberley today gave an illegal immigrant who murdered 3 South African young people, Opile Jonas, Michaela Boysen, and Calvino Matthews, a mere 5 years, running concurrently with 2 years suspended. Hurreal, we must ask, is this justice? Outcome 8, apartheid-era justice-related legislation reviewed and replaced, and as it relates to constitutional development, the apartheid racial classification of Khoi, San, colored, Indian, and one segment of white South Africans being legislatively considered black in general, but not African in particular, must be reviewed and totally erased. Otherwise, we must ask again, is this justice or just ice in a glass of expensive whiskey enjoyed by the deep state when they say cheers to a corrupt system they alone benefit from? PA supports. Munib Baiza, the Minister. Salute.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I'll now recognize Honorable Musala.
The National Prosecuting Authority, meant to be the cornerstone of justice, remain a sub-program under this vote. It is politically and financially tied in the same executive it must prosecute. 106 million was stripped from the investigating directorate, while cases like the Palapala, the National Lottery scandal, and the Gupta extraditions remain frozen. Just over a month ago, the National Director of Public Prosecution, Shamila Badoy, admitted on national television that the NPA is infiltrated. Instead of facing this reality, the minister rushed to defend her, saying she used the wrong word. That is not leadership, it's a coordinated cover-up. The truth is the NPA will never prosecute powerful politicians while it is funded and controlled by them. This budget keeps the NPA on a financial leash and corruption off the hook. In this same climate of protection, we must locate today's revelation. Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi confirmed that the Minister of Police, Senzo Mchuni, solicited funding from a businessman with 3 billion in SAPS contract. Mchunu denied knowing the man, but evidence proves otherwise. Mchunu also disbanded the political killings trust team in KZN and froze post in crime intelligence. These are not blinders, they are tactics to collapse accountability. Yes, Mkhwanazi is not under this vote, but the Department of Justice is the gatekeeper to prosecution, and this budget gives it no tool to act. There's no funding for high-risk corruption cases, no whistleblower protection, no independence for the NPA. Chairperson, justice dies like this, not because of firing of bullets, but through budget that stops the truth. There's always money to protect corruption, but nothing to prosecute it. Until Shamila Badoy leaves, we will never rest as the EFF. Thank you so much.
I will now recognize Honorable Nomvalo.
Thank you very much, House Chair. As the MK Party, we rise to pledge our unwavering support to Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi for his bravery and fearlessness that he demonstrated in the past few days. We further support his sentiments that the task team of political killings, which was established in 2018, must continue doing its work without any fear of prejudice, and all dockets thereof must swiftly be taken from General Sibia, who has a questionable credibility, character, and integrity, and be brought back to the task team for political killings to enable it to effect arrest where instructions of such were already given. Subsequent to that, we further make a clarion call that further investigations about prosecutors and magistrates who have been alleged to have participated in rescuing drug syndicates in Johannesburg must be made by the Office of the Public Protector and SIU swiftly. These institutions must expedite such investigations so that we do not embrace rotten potatoes which will exacerbate an undesirable administrative turmoil presently facing state institutions in the police department and the Department of Justice. We stand here today to salute the KZN Commissioner. We say to him, South Africans are with you. Never give your expensive and rich attention to Ongem no Jahida ANC Youth League, who are trying to be popular by launching weak political onslaughts against you using the media. We know that you will never be moved by any political brouhaha and halabaloo. Honorable members, the NPA is currently in shambles because of the incapable incumbent which has a responsibility to supervise its work. Amicable solutions which can rescue the NPA from the reputational crisis it is currently engulfed with are written on the wall. But Mr. Ramaphosa refuses to espouse them because he doesn't want to offend those who protect him against legal repercussions for hiding dollars under mattress while ordinary South Africans are swimming in poverty. The first solution is that the president, as the appointing authority, must fire Advocate Shamila Batoyi with immediate effect for her incompetency. She has not only run the NPA like she's running a saloon, but has equally failed to supervise the prosecution of prominent cases like the Omotoso case, Sindiso Makaka case, Gupta extradition, Senzo Meyiwa, state capture cases, and many more. Honorable members, the NPA proves it every day that equality before the law and justice are just a myth in South Africa. Hence, criminals who thrive through extortion, drugs, heist, and so on and so forth are more richer than academics, entrepreneurs, and professionals. There is no justice for the poor. It is only for the rich, the politically connected, and corrupt politicians.
The speaker from Rise, Honorable Ghana.
Hey, and Katal no Gwazana, ne? MK. Hey. Nakensam Tramashtul. Honorable members, fellow South Africans, there is that famous saying that says that justice delayed is justice denied. And today, too many South Africans are denied justice because the wheels of justice are grinding far too slowly. This department is meant to be the center of justice for victims of violent crime, for communities plagued by corruption, and for the many ordinary South Africans seeking fairness and accountability. But what we see is a system that is buckling under pressure and at times paralyzed. Take the Senzo Meyiwa trial, a national tragedy that has dragged on for years with no end in sight. Televised court proceedings might inform the public, but when they contribute to procedural delays, we must reassess their value. Justice is not a performance, it is a right. We do acknowledge, as Rice Mzansi, we acknowledge that the budget is inadequate for the volume of cases enrolled. But we also believe that the department can do much better. Too many prosecutors in lower courts are overwhelmed, under-resourced, and some, and we need to be honest, they are corrupt. They accept bribes to oppose or not to oppose bail. The result? People who should be behind bars are out on the streets, and those who should be free remain behind bars. Some because they can't afford bail as low as 500 rands. This cannot be justice, and this cannot be acceptable. And this cannot be acceptable. Honorable members, this budget must prioritize the efficiency and integrity of the justice system. That starts with a well-trained, well-supported, and honest prosecutors. Those who are unwilling to serve with integrity should be shown the door. And last week, Honorable Groenewald, Minister, wanted to open the door that was closed, and you wanted us to discuss corporal punishment. And as Rise Mzansi, we reject the return of corporal punishment. It is regressive and unconstitutional. Instead, let us promote community services and alternative centers to petty crimes. This will include cleaning public spaces, maintaining schools and cemeteries. We need to free up space in our overcrowded prisons and restore dignity to our justice system. And finally, Chairperson, we must move with urgency to protect whistleblowers. As long as billions are looted and whistleblowers are left exposed and in fear, the road will continue. Justice must not only be done,
Thank you,
it must be seen to be done.
Time has expired. The final speaker for the debate will be the Honourable Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development. Thank you.
Let me appreciate the inputs. Though some of the members might not have supported our budget, but issues that they've raised are what concern South Africans, and we'll take them on. Let me start firstly around the issues that have been raised, and thank you, Honourable Matafa, just to flag that. I think as the portfolio, we avail ourselves to the joint committee that has been established by the Speaker to deal with issues that have been raised by General MKHWANAZI. We will avail ourselves to be able to be facing the scrutiny. I think we must applaud the Speaker for that swift process, but also we are awaiting to be able to be guided by the head of state, who said he will be dealing with this matter, and will leave it at that. Second issue that I want to deal with, Honourable Member, is dealing with the performance of NPA. Factually, this is what is happening in terms of the issues of the Zondo Commission. Of the cases, 82 recommendations comprising of 20 cases are still under investigations. 23 recommendations comprising of 9 cases are before courts. 4 recommendations comprises of 2 cases have been finalized. 11 recommendations comprising of 5 cases are under consideration for authorization within the system. IDEC decided not to prosecute 1 case involving 1 recommendation. IDEC also went beyond the recommendation and looked at specific areas where there were no specific recommendation. Out of this, 57 cases have been identified out of the report. 28 cases are before court, 23 under investigations, and 6 are being considered for authorization. It's not correct to say that no work has been done on the state capture investigations. Work continues. Again, what has been progress and important progress that I highlighted in my speech was the work that is done by Asset Forfeiture Unit, the companies that have been involved in state capture who are made to pay back the money. Building investment confidence is important, and that's why fighting crime and corruption does have a role, because investors look at one of the areas around our ability to be able to fight crime and corruption. And that's why we remain committed. You'd note, honorable members, that we have announced that in the portfolio, we will be embarking on lifestyle audit across. In state attorneys, all of them, starting from the bottom to the top. In prosecutors, all of them, we're starting with senior management. In master's office, all of them. In legal aid, that work has started, and I've received the report. And all of them, including the department, all of them are submitting, all entities are submitting quarterly reports in terms of progress, so that I can look at how far they are going and what is happening. So the first reports have come, and I do write to them to say I need the first report. So we will continue with this. Where I must acknowledge, honorable members, our work around whistleblowing protection intervention in the country is not sufficient. That I must say. We've acknowledged this, and that's why the president announced that we will be doing the review, and the work that has started by SIU will enhance. It is not correct to see in the news, to hear families losing loved ones who have been committed as public servants. In the portfolio, we have intervened to say we want ethical and capable employees. I have upfront said to the team, we will do everything in our powers to ensure that we build that. And we do believe that it is possible, it is capable, because those who serve the state and those who decide to join public service must know it's about serving, it's not about lavish lifestyle and better things. And we've said that those who want to own Ferraris with no trust funds from their parents means they can't be in state, because otherwise they'll end up doing wrong things. We have dismissed officials since I've been here. Literally almost every week we are dismissing more than 10 officials in the justice portfolio, because we are ensuring that there are we're operating with no tolerance in terms of ensuring that people can do right. If somebody has taken money fraud, irrespective of 1,000, we are dismissing them. That I can assure you. Those officials who are maintenance officers, who are redirecting money out of the accounts of children to themselves, we've dismissed them and will continue to dismiss them. This is an ethical drive that we are driving in the portfolio, and we do believe that it will change the situation. Honorable members, on the issue of amendment of the Constitution and the budget structure, those powers lies with you. Thank you.
I want to say bravo to our parliament in South Africa, whereby we see our parliamentarians all standing together behind Provisional Commissioner NHLANHLA MKHWANAZI for exposing the deep corruption that is in our country. It was quite soothing to see parliamentarians standing together, wanting to fight this deep corruption that is in our country. I really appreciate what I saw our parliamentarians doing, standing up immediately. They heard the voice that was sounding the alarm for South Africans to wake up, because the country is going with the syndicates. It is really amazing. I think a lot of debate is going to go on, and we are happy to see our parliament standing together for this. This was really soothing, and we want to say bravo, bravo, bravo to our parliamentarians.